8:44, everybody. And a groundbreaking announcement by the U.S. Commerce Department this week will result in a historic expansion for Jewish businesses, not only in New York, but across the country.
Yeah, Jewish businesses will now be classified as minority business enterprises, making them eligible for billions of dollars in grants, contract, and loans. Duvi Honig is the founder and CEO of the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, and he's joining us this morning to discuss the impact of this new classification. So good morning to you, Duvi. Great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here today.
Yeah, I mean, huge week for you, very exciting. Can you talk specifically about what this change means then?
Absolutely. It's so historic. Think about it. The Hispanic community is 19% of the U.S. population. Yeah. The African American is 15% of the U.S. population. The Jewish population is 2%. And all of the minorities, MBDA, billions of dollars of grants since 1969 when they established the Minority Business Development Association under the U.S. Department of Commerce. There's hundreds of programs and billions of dollars of revenues and grants and all different contracts from startups to big companies who are eligible, including banks who are obligated to give specific amounts of loans to minorities that Jews were not included in. Yeah. And no one understood it. And people always voicing frustration. Jews are always the underdog. And it doesn't make sense. Like 2% of, we're the biggest, smallest minority in America, you know? And we had no voice. We had no eligibility to access our taxpayers' dollars as the biggest minority and the biggest suppressed people.
So you signed the agreement on Monday, right? So I guess the question is how quickly does it go into effect, and how soon can businesses start to see some of the money?
So the answer is as follows. We had changed the way the U.S. Department of Commerce is going to and the Minority Business Development Association are going to go forward with the applications. So I had a meeting with them right afterwards. We're updating the applications. Okay. So right now, until the applications are updated, and to remove different, based on race, so based on different color, what you have to check out when you apply for it, those are being re-updated. So after we signed the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, to recognize Orthodox Jews as minorities, and I want to tell you about it, that it took us a year and a half to advocate for this. But during the year and a half that we went back and forth, and during that time, there was a new Supreme Court law passed in Texas with a lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Commerce, how they went about identifying minorities, that it wasn't fair to a specific race. So when that happened, I said, you know what, let's include all Jews, not just Orthodox Jews. Yeah. And we updated the MOU, and we were able to, when we came to the final close signing, it was redone to include all Jews, not just Orthodox Jews.
So how soon can folks start applying for any type of grants, and how many businesses is this really affecting?
So this is affecting across all 50 states. The 2% of the United States population. So every Jewish business, I'm talking about big businesses and small businesses. You know, when you go for a government contract, it goes based on the score. You automatically have a 5% advantage in your score, like a school test, to get the grant, to be able to get that grant. And now a lot of Jewish businesses are going to be able to get those grants, but also from the banking perspective. You know that banks have to lend money on a lower interest rate as well. The U.S. Treasury is also a partner of ours. Of course, now this MOU included many different departments within the Department of Commerce that we represent, and they created a 50-state initiative that gives minorities, instead of like the bank will give you 70%, you get the extra 30% for a startup business.
Okay. So you were, I guess, at Mar-a-Lago about this to talk more about this with President-elect Trump, right? You're also going to be at the inauguration. Did he have a hand in kind of making sure that this got done?
I want to say that I was so impressed by the unification of the transition teams, because we had right now, by the signing, we had Madia Latif, who she is the new undersecretary, who's taking over from Eric, the undersecretary, as well as with us Don Raves, Don Graves, who's the deputy secretary, and a special shout out to Joanne Hill, who's running the MBDA, who's continuing it. So Joanne and Madia Latif are working with us side by side. So we had the previous administration and the new administration, and it was her first day on the job.
Yeah.
And everyone was so excited. She said, this is something that I am so appreciative to be able to start my first day in the United States Department of Commerce, running this whole department with a historic change that really was a wrong that was fixed.
Yeah.
So it was done on a bipartisan level. So we're really excited about working with them, and very appreciative. Again, I want to acknowledge Don Graves, who pushed hard, the undersecretary and the deputy secretary and the undersecretary Eric, and of course Joanne Hill, and now Latif to work with them.
Right.
Well, this change is a huge step, and we appreciate you coming in to talk about it. Thanks so much, Duvi.
Thank you.
Keep us posted on when it goes into effect.
Yes,
okay?
it is effective already now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Just the applications have to be redone.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.